morning and welcome to today's edition of Mexico News Network's Daily Report. I am your host, Sofia Rattinger, broadcasting from El Dorado Royal Spa Resort by Charisma. Do not forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, and visit our website, www.mexiconewsnetwork.com, for more relevant news. Let's begin with information. Lying in the valley of Oaxaca are the impressive archaeological ruins of Monte Albán, a place that was inhabited by Olmec, Zapotec, and Mixtec cultures consecutively for an estimated of 1,500 years. Monte Albán is the second largest archaeological site in Latin America and a safekeeper of the history of three subsequent ancient cultures. This mysterious hilltop complex of ruins dating back from approximately 1,800 before Christ has pyramids, a ball game court, underground passages, stone carvings, and tombs. Monte Albán is the most important archaeological site in the valley of Oaxaca, between the Sierra Madre Oriental and the Sierra Madre del Sur mountain ranges. It was a city carved out and the mountain and represents a sacred topography. The site is known for its magnitude and the artistic style of its carvings with hieroglyphic inscriptions. Most notably, the Los Danzantes, the Dancers series of glyphs are the earliest known examples of trick writing in Mexico. It is also worth knowing the Graf Zapotec capital developed for 13 centuries, from 500 before Christ to 850 before Christ. During its peak, it accommodated approximately 35,000 people. Monte Albán is an outstanding example of a pre-Columbian ceremonial center of a civilization with knowledge, art, and tradition. Because of this, it was designated by the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization as a World Heritage Site in 1987, along with Oaxaca's Historical Center, a city of iconic architecture with 1,200 historic monuments. One of the most spectacular archaeological sites in Mexico, Monte Albán offers impressive 360-degree views and rises 400 meters above the valley floor and is located 9 kilometers west of Oaxaca City, an intact colonial city with 19th century buildings and well-kept traditions. Chacchoven is a mysterious archaeological site located in the middle of the exotic Mayan jungle and the southern end of the state of Quintana Roo, where thousands of years before there was a ceremonial center. Now only the pieces of its glory days remain. 9 kilometers from the 307 Federal Highway from Chetumal to Cancun, you can find a shortcut to Mérida. This road leads to the Mayan town of Chacchoven, which means place of the red maize in Maya. In 1942, a Yucatec Maya man called Serviliano Cowo found the remains of the ancient city and made them his home. Later on, in 1972, Dr. Peter Harrison, an American archaeologist sponsored by Tulane University and the Royal Ontario Museum, arrived to this place and documented the ruins. Since then, the new era of Chacchoven began. However, despite all the efforts in restoration, time, and natural erosion have done away with all the information originally carved onto the stone steles, making it impossible to learn of the full history of this place. Even its original name is lost in time. Archaeologists believe that Chacchoven may have been a ceremonial center that was abandoned and reoccupied at last 3 times, being finally deserted around 1000 before Christ. Along with the mysterious ambience of the site, visitors often admire the exotic flora and fauna that surround this ancient city. Chacchoven is located in an area known as Región of the Lakes because of the numbers of the lagoons and humid areas that surround it. The site is surrounded by exuberant trees covered with Spanish moss, different kinds of orchids, as well as many species of fauna, including deer, armadillo, gray fox, and monkeys. Very deep inside the jungle, there are jaguars, ocelots, pumas, and tapirs. Chacchoven is a must-see for all travelers seeking an adventure on the ancient Maya roads. Chihuahua is the largest state in Mexico, as well as a beholder of the most spectacular and beautiful natural landscapes. On the western side of the territory, you will find one of the most fascinating spots, the Tarahumara Sierra. One of the most ancient Mexican civilization inhabits this particular region of Mexico, the Rarámuri runners, one of the few native towns left who still keep some of their traditions and lifestyle. They are better known for running large distances by feet or using rustic sandals. The Barrancas del Cobre Cooper Canyon, one of the largest and most impressive canyon trails in the world, even larger than the Grand Canyon in the US. It has vertical rock walls hundreds of meters high and a waterfall that rises up to 1,500 meters above ground level. Throughout this rough and adventurous land, you can also experience and live some amazing experiences, such as crossing the canyon on zip lines, traveling in the Ferrocarril Chihuahua Pacifico, or on board the largest ski lift in the world. To the north and east of the territory, you will find nothing but desert, large sands areas surrounded only by mountains. This hostile environment was not a setback for an ancient civilization that thousands of years ago lived and mannered these lands. Remains of an ancient city were found in the Paquimé Dunes. In this immense desert, you can find a small oasis originated by the riverside of the Conchos River. You will also come across the amazing rock formations of the Ojinaga Canyons. In its modern cities, you can still observe architectural treasures built since the arrival of the Spaniards. Among these architectural constructions, you will see the Cathedral of Chihuahua, the Baroque jewels of the Allende Valley, and El Parral, the missions, Porphyrion facades, and palaces built by Federico Amerigo Rubier, and more. These are real and true proof of the passing of time, since Chihuahua was an important location for the Mexican Revolution. One of the main characters from this social struggle of the 20th century was originally from Chihuahua, Mr. Doroteo Arango, or better known as Pancho Villa. The Centaur of the North has his headquarters in this territory and has the east to cross over to the American Union and provoke riots. The state gave the special tribute to this revolutionary hero throughout various monuments and museums. Just as grand as the territory itself, the gastronomy in Chihuahua is vast and diverse. Some of the most traditional dishes that hold an important place in the culture are caldo de oso, translated in English as beer soup, made with Colorado chili pepper and fish, beef jerky, pork and lamb meat empanadas, and the famous burrito. Besides gastronomy, one of the outstanding beverages is sotol, an organic liquor made from wild agave. Its taste is very similar to tequila, both having the same origin, and its level of alcohol is quite elevated, 38%. Sotol is used by native groups to perform rituals and religious ceremonies. It is said the first sip is awakening of the conscience and the senses. Until recently, this state was in the warning list of the U.S. government, considered to be somewhat risky for travelers. However, nowadays, Chihuahua and their tour providers are pleased to learn that the warning has been removed, meaning that it is a safe place for locals and visitors. Don't let others tell you about it. Travel, live adventures, and discover the true meaning of the expression, a Chihuahua. The occidental half of Isla Mujeres nestles thousands of exotic and colorful marine species who find rest and food in the depths of the Mesoamerican Barrier Reef System. This wonderful selection of flora and fauna include bottlenose dolphins, reef fish, barracudas, sea urchins, lobsters, octopus, starfish, and different kinds of sharks, including whale shark and the hammerhead shark. In addition to living a wonderful experience and encountering with this awesome sea life, this area is very safe to swim in. A barrier reef system is made up of sea sponges, reefs, both hard and soft, and more. The Isla Mujeres, Punta Cancún, and Nisug National Park receives approximately 600,000 visitors yearly from all over the world, the majority of these seeking the unique and colorful reef formations, and also to have the opportunity of encountering closely with a whale shark. This imposing creature can also be seen from the month of May to September. The Isla Mujeres, Punta Cancún, and Nisug National Park was declared as such in the year 1996, with the purpose of preserving not only the coral reef, but also the entire marine life inhabiting in it. Another purpose was making sure that tourist activities and tours were adequately regulated so they didn't drastically and negatively impact the harmony of the ecosystem. Tour operators today are under thorough surveillance and run under strict directions and regulations from the Protected Areas Commission, an institution in charge of establishing guidelines for these service providers, therefore, to preserve the area. According to Mr. Jaime Cano, director of the Isla Mujeres, Punta Cancún, and Nisug National Park, companies are working together to guarantee everything is being done according to the rule book and guidelines to keep and preserve the natural environment. We'll be right back with more information on Mexico and the Riviera Maya after these brief messages. Stay with us.